If you are going through a divorce, the last thing that you want to do is waste thousands upon thousands of dollars in unnecessary litigation. The truth is that dragging your case through court is one of the quickest ways to drain your entire bank account and deplete your resources, and honestly, your sanity. But what if I told you you did not have to do this and you don't have to live that nightmare? Welcome back to Divorce Den, everyone, where our focus is on helping you create your best future during and after divorce and destigmatizing the big D word. Today, we're going to talk about our final point when it comes to saving money on attorney fees. Tip number 7, avoid litigation. Today, I'm going to help you break down how you can avoid unnecessary litigation, keep more money in your own pocket, and get you through this divorce in a way that doesn't leave you financially wrecked, you or your family. Okay, so what are some of the hidden costs when it comes to litigation, meaning that you're handling your divorce in court? Every time that your attorney goes to court, you have to pay for their preparation time before they go, the time that they sit around waiting there, and honestly, even the travel time that they go back and forth to court. You also have to take off of work. You have to arrange childcare. Sometimes you have to get coverage at work. Sometimes you even have to make arrangements to travel to court. All of that costs so much time and money, and most times you don't even see the judge. We've talked about this before about how attorneys bill and being very clear on your billing, but knowing that your attorney, for the most part, is going to be charging hourly, those costs can add up very, very quickly. Traveling to court, preparing for court in advance, being in court, waiting for the judge, sometimes for hours on end, depending on the judge's schedule. I've been in court many times where the judge had an emergency. They had to go and address another issue, and there were three, four, sometimes 10 cases literally waiting behind them, and they got pushed from a 9 o'clock appearance in the morning to an afternoon appearance. And you know what happens? That entire time that your attorney is sitting there waiting, literally just waiting, they can't work. So your matter is getting billed for the entire time your attorney's there. Many times litigation is unavoidable, especially if your spouse is very emotion driven and they want to get revenge, or they're really still very wrapped up in their emotions and they are saying, I'm going to court no matter what. Sometimes you can't avoid that, and we understand that. However, as much as you can, make sure that you're letting them know we can save so much money if we can come to a resolution, or even if we can't resolve the issues, let's at least agree to resolve the issues outside of court. And just as a reminder for you as well, the more that you fight over small issues that are in court, sometimes furnishings or furniture that's in the house, the more expensive your divorce is going to become. Save that money, go buy yourself new stuff. So how can you avoid falling into this expensive legal trap? Let's talk about some key steps that you can take to keep your divorce out of court and try to convince your spouse to do the same. Step 1 is know that you have options. Try as much as you can to speak to your spouse about mediation, collaborative divorce, negotiated settlement, sitting down and working this out completely outside of the court and completely outside of the purview of a judge making decisions for you. Mediation allows the both of you, you and your spouse, to work through your issues with the mediator, and that can save you thousands of dollars compared to litigation. You have to be transparent. You're going to work together. You're going to come to the table and still have hard discussions, but you can do it. Collaborative divorce means that the both of you have an attorney and you kind of do the same thing where you're both negotiating, working together, and making sure that you have everything laid out on the table. You're working in your best interest, but you have the attorneys to get your legal advice and act as a sounding board for you as well. There are other professionals involved as well, and we go into more detail on that in many other videos, but just know that you have these options. And sometimes you can even enter into a negotiated settlement where the two of you are basically negotiating your settlement, and you don't have to have as formal a process as mediation or collaborative. Working together will save you so much money. Let's talk about why choosing these out of court options will save you so much money. There's no endless court delays. You don't have to wait months for a judge to make any decision on your future. You have more control. You get to create the solutions that are going to work best for your family and not some judge who doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. Also, some of the mediators and even maybe some collaborative professionals in your area, they might offer a flat fee, unlike litigation where almost always, that I've seen anyway, it's hourly. So there's a lot of different fee options that you can speak to even your attorney about, but certainly divorce mediators, and see if there's something that fits your budget. But litigating for sure will take all of that money. And I hear what you're saying. What if my spouse is being difficult and refuses to cooperate? Well, that brings us to the next point. Having a hard discussion with your soon to be ex is really worth it, because the truth of the matter is, not everything is worth fighting for. Just as I was talking about before, some of the furnishings and furniture in the house, even maybe if there's a small bank account, I'm not telling you to walk away from what you're legally entitled to, right? So make sure that you hear me. However, if we're talking about an account that has $3,000 in it and you have to fight for that in court and you're going to be paying your attorney $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 to get it, then you tell me, is that worth it? If we're talking about a retirement account that has $500,000 in it and you have to pay $10,000 or $20,000 for a motion to get that, again, that's very different. You have to weigh your options and see where it is that you're willing to give, even if it's not necessarily fair. You just have to think about the costs of litigation and then the cost of moving forward for your freedom. So make sure that when you're negotiating or if you're litigating, please don't litigate, but if you are, just prioritize big ticket items, like I said, like that retirement account, your real estate, any collections, anything that really has any financial value, and certainly something that has emotional value, but not a living room set that you bought from the store around the corner 10 years ago. That's maybe you paid $5,000 for it, but I promise you it's not worth fighting for a $5,000 couch or living room set that was worth $5,000 years ago. It's not worth that now. Move forward. Another thing you should do is use settlement offers to your advantage, because sometimes making a reasonable settlement offer early can really prevent unnecessary court appearances. You always want to seem like the most reasonable person in the room. Of course, I'll give up the couch. Of course, I'll give up the furnishings in the house. No problem. I'll give up that $3,000 bank account. Like it or not, you providing these solutions from the beginning will actually make you look good in the eyes of the court. Even though they have to make their decisions based on the law, what are judges? Human beings. So they see that you're being reasonable and trying to work through this. So they also want to be able to advance this settlement. They want to make sure that the other side is seeing how reasonable you're being. What's wrong with you that you can't meet in the middle when they've given up that $3,000 bank account and the living room set? And do not underestimate the power of a good divorce coach or a financial advisor. And I've spoken about these professionals so many times. Please rely on them 1,000 times more than you would rely on your attorney, because your attorney can help you with the legal matters. But when it comes to the emotions, when it comes to the money, which is always tied up with the emotions, litigating those things is really not going to serve you well. It's going to cost you so much money. A divorce coach and a financial advisor can help you with those strategies about how to negotiate, what to give up, maybe not getting stuck in those emotional battles and costing you more money. So certainly consider bringing them on board. They can save you a lot of money. Now let's talk about a game changer that a lot of people overlook: keeping your attorney's focus on what actually matters. I've talked about it many times. Keeping your focus and your attorney's focus on the legal matters. In litigation, there are so many times when clients use their attorneys, I've been there myself, as therapists. Calling, emailing, venting, saying how terrible their ex is, what they've done as far as not complying with court orders with the children. Now, there are a lot of things that your attorney certainly does need to know for the court case. But if you're calling your attorney to tell them how terrible your soon to be ex is, that they didn't show up for the kids' recital at school, that they forgot to drop off their backpack, they were 15 minutes late for drop off. These are things that, while they're important and I understand them, and I understand that that's very frustrating, it messes with your schedule, it lets your children down. Emotionally, it can be very hard. At the end of the day, legally, there's very little that I can do about that. Very little. Can I bring it to the judge's attention? Of course I can. But that, again, is going to cost more money. And then what does that do when we're in court? I'm going to be very honest with you. A judge is going to say, okay, don't do that. And who's going to stop it? There are no divorce police. No one's going to make them stop. So venting to your attorney about these things because you're frustrated about it, that's understandable. But that energy is much better used with a divorce coach or a therapist. Speaking to your attorney about what they can help you with, advancing your case legally, is going to save you so much money. Part of avoiding unnecessary litigation is avoiding unnecessary motion practice and court filings. You want to encourage your attorney to focus on what you really are legally entitled to, what it is that you know that you have. And if you really don't know that you have something and motions have to be filed, that's different. However, filing emergency motions over minor issues can really cost so much money. It's going to cost you more than what it is that you're going to get. As much as you can, try to negotiate before actually getting into court. Some courts offer mediation. Mediation is a strong word in some of the courts, but even a settlement conference with some of the court personnel, whether it's a court attorney or court staff, they might be able to help you sort of talk through and hash out some of the issues that you're having and help you reach a settlement, even if it's only a settlement on a few of the matters. And then you have to take the rest of the issues to court. But if you're in litigation and the court or your attorneys or anyone else offers these resources, take them up on them, right? Start to try to work that out in advance so that you're clearer about what you want, clearer about what you might still need. So is your soon to be ex, and maybe you can meet in the middle. So finally, let's wrap up with some key takeaways and some action steps that you can start on today to help you save money on attorney fees when you're getting divorced. The biggest takeaway is that litigation is expensive and it should always be your last resort. I'm not saying that it cannot be your resort, but please make it your last one. Consider mediation and collaborative divorce. They are smarter financial choices when it comes to saving money. Be strategic. Don't waste your money fighting over the small things. Focus on the big ticket items and use your attorney's time and their skill set efficiently and wisely. Avoid unnecessary litigation as much as you can. Some final advice here. Your divorce does not have to be a financial disaster. I promise you that. With some smart planning and the right approach, the right outlook, you can come out of this stronger and better than ever, even financially. Thank you again for joining us on the Divorce Den. And if you want more divorce saving tips, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on our next video.